Welcome to the Landmark Baseball Podcast. My name is Josh, coming to you from Michigan. Over there in California is Neil. How you doing today, Neil?
Great, great. Glad to be here.
It feels like it's been a while since we've done this. It's only been like a week, but I was like looking at our like video stats throughout the week, and I was like, this feels like a month ago. But we did the Bauer video. That was our last video.
Yeah, and some stuff has happened since then. Nothing big as that, like we mentioned in the last part, because all the big free agents are off the table, but some small things and some potential league rule changes, I guess, and baseball changes, which I didn't know about. So yeah, let's talk about that or some other
This is
stuff.
probably the most like technical stuff going on in baseball that we've had throughout this offseason so far.
Right, which I like to see because that's interesting also.
Yeah, it creates good conversation and kind of changes the direction of the game. But we'll start with the trades and the signings and stuff. So first off, biggest thing of the week: Andrew Benintendi traded to KC. It's a three-team deal involving the Mets, Red Sox, and Royals. KC receives Benintendi, and the Red Sox are going to eat some of his contract and help the Royals pay it off a little bit. Boston receives Josh Winkowski, this 23-year-old starting pitcher from the Mets. They're also getting Franchi Cordero, who's 26 years old now. He hits the ball really hard. He just hasn't really gotten that much exposure to the major league pitching yet. They also get three players to be named later, so whether or not the Red Sox got enough back for Benintendi remains to be seen. We don't even know who the players are yet.
Yeah, what did the Mets
And
get?
the Mets got Khalil Lee from the Royals. He's an outfielder, 22 years
Uh,
old. He's like a fringe major leaguer. He hasn't debuted yet, but he'll probably be like a good pinch hitting role or a pinch running role for them. Stole a lot of bases in the minors. Has a decent eye from what I've seen on the minor league stats, but that doesn't really mean much for the minors. So, what is this? Does this trade do anything for you?
I was actually looking at the Royals lineup, and they're actually pretty solid now.
It's
Um,
fun.
yeah, they got Carlos Santana, right? They got him to a 2-year deal earlier on, and then they still have Soler, and then Benintendi slides in there perfectly, in left field where what's his name? The guy who
Alex
just
Gordon.
retired. Yeah, Alex Gordon used to play. So I mean, yeah, it's not a Kansas City's not a hitter-friendly ballpark from what I've heard. It's like can be the opposite, right? So
It's
that
pretty deep, like
yeah, it's pretty deep.
gaps.
So that's why, yeah, I was saying like because I've heard people talk about Soler being like his home runs are ridiculous for that field. But yeah, Benintendi, I mean, he's a good hitter for that though because he's a contact guy. So that there's a lot more space you have to work with because he could hit it if you play him shallow. He could hit it behind you for double, or he could just bloop it in front of you for an easy single. I think he's definitely gonna. Honestly, I think that benefits him more than Fenway. For sure. Just because I don't know, he's just more space to hit the ball, I guess. And also yeah, I'm just looking at the rest of their lineup. Like I said, they're like 6, 7 guys deep before there's like some like questionable guys. But I mean Merrifield, Mondesi, Salvador Perez bounced back last year. Santana, great hitter. Soler, Benintendi. That's
Hunter
pretty
Dozier's a pretty
scary.
underrated
Yeah, I was gonna
corner
say that
spot too.
also. Yeah, Hunter Dozier. Yeah, I really liked him too. And Michael A. Taylor in center field. I mean, he's
Good defense.
yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't call that's like a whole offensively, but not defensively. Great guy manning center field. Nicky Lopez, I don't know who that is, but I mean, I thought
Contact
that's
hitting.
yeah. So yeah, that's good too. Yeah, if he gets 255 like Fangraphs has him predicted, that's solid too. And this Royals lineup a lot better than it looked like yesterday, I guess, or before. And I didn't know like that
Yeah.
they were this good. I mean, obviously this team, they're uh they're not contending because their pitching is not too great. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they can out hit some of these teams. So I mean, we'll see. It's gonna be a fun team for the Royals. They're not like some of these other bad teams. I guess they're trying to do something. So yeah.
So Benintendi came up in 2017, I believe. Yeah, I think that's the right timetable. Maybe debuted in 2016, but his first full season was 17. But he was really exciting. He was a top prospect coming up. Red Sox had a lot of high hopes for him. His best season was in 2018 by far, and then 2019 he was kind of tearing it up. And then the last month of the season he hit like 125 down the stretch, and he hasn't been right since then. He had a terrible 2020. He had like an like a 10 OPS plus or something like stupid, like statistically the worst hitter in baseball for like 14 games.
Mhm.
But I mean, we're only 50 games removed from Benintendi looking like the guy he's supposed to be. And I mean, it was a year and a half ago, but that just, it's only 50 games. And I mean, who knows what he can do in Royal and then KC, but fresh start for him. Red Sox fans aren't the nicest, I guess, to say the least. KC is definitely a change of pace for him, but this team is fun now. I really like what the Royals are doing. They added Mike Minor, like you said, Carlos Santana. So they're doing things to kind of keep fans in the seats and play at least competitive baseball. If they can take a few wins away from the Twins and Indians, I like this a lot, which I think they can.
Right, and they can certainly, beat up on the other teams a little bit more now too. So, yeah,
And
I mean,
this lineup
definitely.
can kind of hang with the White, like it can't hang with the White Sox, but they can play a good game of
Oh
baseball
yeah,
against the White Sox.
this is like a top American League lineup for sure. I mean, I wouldn't have said that before, but I mean, they're
Wouldn't even
obviously.
thought about it.
Yeah, I knew that would have been crazy, but it looks like it to me right now. On paper, we'll see. This lineup, they could go into the season and Perez could like I don't know. They could do bad and I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think they will. This looks like a pretty solid lineup for the most part.
If they play their best baseball, they probably take a spot away from the Indians in third place. Obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think so. But it certainly makes it exciting. And what the Royals are doing is something that a lot of these fringe rebuilding teams should be doing. They
Right.
have pitching on the way, they have hitting on the way. It's just still a couple years out, but they're just spending this little bit of money or maybe giving away just this little bit of talent just to kind of keep people interested and kind of keep the fan base where it is. Because I mean, just we're just 6 years removed from the Royals winning a World Series against the Mets, and I mean, how exciting was that team 6 years ago? All the contact they had, they just were pesky, and this lineup kind of looks pesky again. Obviously, they're not the 2015 Royals, but definitely a fun lineup.
Yeah, definitely pesky for sure.
And Boston is an example of what these big market teams should not be doing that are rebuilding. They're just giving away talent again.
Yeah.
I do like Franchi Cordero. You probably know a bit more about him playing on the Padres, but hits the ball hard, like we said earlier. And I mean, he just hasn't really gotten consistent playing time. I don't know if that's hurting him or maybe he just hasn't earned it yet. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
He's like a fast guy. I mean, I didn't really like what I saw with him on the Padres. So, yeah, I was kind of happy when they got rid of him. But yeah, it is what it is. Who knows? Maybe they'll get more out of him. And yeah, Boston, they kind of just like won a World Series and dipped, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's their outfield look like right now? It's
I don't know.
Verdugo and Wright.
They're gonna lose Bradley, so
They lost JBJ. They said it's like a possibility they get him back, but they were like, I also don't be surprised if
he
they
needs to
don't.
go to
So
the
basically saying
Mets.
like
He needs to go to the
we're
Mets.
trying, but we're not trying.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't. We can check fan graphs, I guess.
their center fielder is they have Verdugo in center, Hunter Renfro and right. That's right.
Oh, that's terrible.
The
Renfro is
Padres
not.
outfield, AL West outfield.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Verdugo he could play center field, but
He's more of a right fielder on like another team.
I mean the Dodgers they played him in center a little bit, but yeah, he's
I
over
like Verdugo a
Bellinger.
lot.
Yeah, I like Verdugo a lot too. I mean their lineup looks pretty good. But yeah, that is Padres right there. Renfro in right field, Cordero in left. Except Cordero, their lineup, they would have had Cordero in center, and then Renfro in left, and then what's his face? The big dude in right. Franmil Reyes.
Franmil Reyes
Yeah,
on the
that would have
Indians
been
now.
yeah. So thank God we were talking about that before, like the Padres then and now. Like thank God we're past that outfield. Our outfield now is much better. Grisham, Pham, Myers, if not, Kim or
So
yeah, I don't
far.
know, Profar, yeah. But
They pretty much just stayed net neutral. Like Benintendi's lefty left fielder, Franchi Cordero lefty left fielder, kind of power based guys. So, eh.
and now
Go get them, Casey.
yeah,
Mets. I don't even know why they felt the need to get involved here. They just got a
yeah.
little fringe prospect. I
Maybe
mean,
they think these prospects are better, but yeah, the Mets they shouldn't be dealing away prospects after the recent trades. But
well, I don't think this pitcher is much of a loss for them. He's 23 years old. He's like still in like single A, so I don't think they're like really
yeah,
hanging their heads about losing him. They could probably use Khalil Lee a lot more as
yeah,
for the postseason stuff like that. He seems like an above tier pinch runner. Like, do you know who Terrence Gore is? The Dodgers picked him up last year from the
um,
Royals, actually. But
yeah, I think so.
speedy little outfielder, just literally just there to run. But Khalil Lee looks like he's got a little better hitting numbers than Terrence Gore did. So I like it, I guess, for the
Yeah,
Mets.
we'll see
Didn't
how.
really. We'll see who they give up. The players to
Mhm.
be named later. We can move on from that. But Oakland and Texas made a trade this week too. Oakland receives Elvis Andrus, who's been a starting shortstop for the Rangers for like 11, 12 years, something like that. Insane, like how long Andrus has been in the league. He's only like 33. Texas will be paying part of his contract. He's a free agent through 2022. So Oakland gets 2 full years of Andrews, and they also get catcher first baseman Aramis Garcia. He was on the Giants last year. Didn't really do that much. Texas gets Chris Davis, led the league in home runs in 2018. I think it's 2018. Hasn't looked right since then though. Had a pretty abysmal full 2019 and didn't really get it together in 2020 either. His OPS was in the 600s. Texas also gets right-handed pitcher Dane Acker. He's 21 years old, and catcher Jonah Heim. So I mean, kind of another. I mean, Oakland gets their shortstop, replace Simeon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, definitely, because they lost Semien, and looking at their lineup, I mean, not too great. Actually, Fangraphs doesn't even have, or no, they do have Elvis Andrews, yeah, starting shortstop. He looks like projected to be bottom of the lineup. But yeah, it is kind of weird. Yeah, like I've only really seen him on the Rangers, and let me pull up his baseball reference. Yeah, last year, not too great for him. He had a 194 batting average, and year before that, though, I mean, 275 and
He's literally been
career.
the same player for like 10
Yeah,
years. He's
and
got like one All-Star appearance. He's got like 1,400 hits. I mean, good career. Hall of very good, I guess. Hall of good. Good player.
yeah, I'm looking at the Athletics lineup. Yeah, tend to underwhelming it feels like, but
Considering what they lost, I mean, Tommy LaStella was kind of a late staple in that offense, but they lost Simeon, and Andrews is no Simeon. They replaced LaStella with Tony Kemp, who's just another speedy little infielder. I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot for me. They lost Robbie Grossman too, puts together good at bats. Their current DH is Seth Brown.
mhm.
It's just their bench is
Wait, so
weak.
the Rangers got David Dahl?
No, they signed David Dahl earlier, but in this trade they get Chris Davis.
I
So
didn't know that. I didn't know that they signed him earlier. I just because I saw him on the thing now. Yeah, Chris Davis. He looks like he's gonna be a bench guy too for them. But yeah, I mean, it's an okay deal, I guess. I mean, we'll see how it works out later
low
for both
risk,
these
high
teams.
reward. That's how I
Yeah.
see that one. I mean, he had like I think 3 years where he had the same batting average all 3 years. Just remember that being cool. But I mean, this Texas team is probably one of the worst run organizations in all of Major League Baseball. This trade doesn't really do anything to make that any less true. Doesn't do anything to make it more true though. Kind of a shame that Andrews isn't a lifetime Ranger, but it is what it is. I don't know what they're doing. They don't
Yeah.
either. Moving on. Stupid. Tonight, actually, about an hour and a half ago, Justin Turner re-signed with the Dodgers, 2 years, 34 million, 17 a year. Really,
What?
yeah, really hoping he went to the Brewers. Didn't happen. So the
Oh yeah,
team's
they're
the
not paying him
same.
that. They're not paying him that.
No, Brewers have no need to pay him that,
Two
but
years, 34 million. That is, he's probably really happy with that. But
that's probably exactly what he wanted. He might have wanted like 3 or 4 years. He wasn't
I
going to
thought he
get
was
that.
gonna get. I thought he was gonna get like 1 year, honestly. But nope. But still,
Turner's been a really good hitter since like 2012. I mean, his batting average is over 300 since then. say what you will about batting average, but in a lot of other facets, he's been like
Oh,
one
he's
of the
a really
better.
good. No, yeah, he's super underrated for sure.
Just his
But
run production is insane.
yeah, no, Turner's really good. He's deserving of that. But I didn't. Their payroll is just ridiculous now. Even like after
Skyrocket through the luxury
like
tax.
wow, they're just like they just don't care. They just don't care. They're I mean
No,
all out. That yeah, let's pull them back up on Fangraphs.
there's gonna be like a sad, real sad off season in a couple of years for the Dodgers where they're just gonna have to like release everybody or trade everybody because they're
Well,
gonna be so over the luxury tax.
they do have a lot of money coming off the books because it will be like I think Kershaw, this is his last year, and then Bauer, he'll be off in 3 years. Same with Turner, and obviously really
Seager's off next year.
yeah, Cedar's off next year, but then they might have to pay him. We'll see how that goes. But then
They also extended Walker Bueller this week too.
but that was like
Oh no, they settled on a arbitration to
yeah.
avoid arbitration. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it's not the same like when he like because when he that dude's a free agent, if the Yankees have a say on it, they're gonna jack the price way up. So yeah, hopefully yeah we'll see how what the Dodgers do in a couple of years. It'll be interesting, right? As we try to focus on the
But are they
now.
guaranteed champions again?
No,
Like they just,
okay. No one can say guarantee. There's no guarantees in sports. There's like you
but
can't
like this is,
say.
they are more sure to win the championship after a
Oh
Bauer Turner
yeah,
signing than any other team, like
yeah.
without question.
Right. They were the favorites by a lot before Bauer and Turner. They could have not Turner could have gone to the or Bauer should have gone to the Mets and Turner should have gone to the Mets. They could have used him also. Yeah, what the Mets should have bid for Turner. They should have given him 3 years, like 20
Yeah, they probably
million.
should have.
I don't know, but
It
yeah, no,
happened.
Dodgers, they're just the Dodgers. They're just really good. I don't know what else to say. Their pitching, like rotation, like makes your jaw hit the floor. Like their lineup now, just like I mean, Edwin Rios was going to be, he wouldn't be Justin Turner, but now they got Justin Turner back. So yeah, really only weakness is their bullpen, which again is a strength, like you said, for other teams. But and we'll see how they do. They have a fierce competitor in the Padres in their division also, but they're definitely looking like the number one option because they lost some bench. I will say that Padres bench is looking a little stronger, especially after Peterson and
They lost
TJ
Kike.
Hernandez. Yeah, TJ Hernandez and Jock Peterson. Those are two everyday players on other teams, which they're going to be now. And I mean, they deserve that. They were just bench guys for the Dodgers for so long, and so they did lose that. That does kind of hurt them, and you never know with injuries and stuff. So, but
However,
yeah.
their top bench player is Gavin Lux, who last year was a Rookie of the Year favorite and top prospect. So
Right, but he also didn't have the year that people
he didn't
expected him
play a whole
to.
lot, but yeah, you're right. He did underperform.
But I didn't see Chris Taylor anywhere. Did they lose him also? I didn't see him on the Fangraphs bench.
I thought they still had Chris Taylor. Is he a starting outfielder?
Oh yeah, he might be. I don't. You're right, he might
Because
be.
it's between like Pollock and
Because yeah, I
Taylor.
thought it'd be
For
Pollock.
they got Pollock in left, and
Oh,
they have
Chris Taylor at second. Yeah,
yeah second.
so he's
I
gonna
should
be
put
there
Lux
every
there.
day. So yeah, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. They'll probably switch them out a lot. But yeah, they still got Chris Taylor, who's a solid bench piece. But yeah, Dodgers. Yeah, Justin
I'd
Turner, good
say
for them, I
Turner
guess.
finishes Turner finishes his career in LA. I'd say he'll be 38 when that contract's up. It's probably
Right,
about time to
but
call it a career.
who knows? I mean, if a team wants to give him, 5, 6, 7 million for one more year, I mean, how can he say no, And what if the Dodgers,
Yeah,
they don't want to be that team? So, yeah, it's
it depends.
especially now too, we're seeing a lot of guys get money like older. Like you could have totally compared Turner to Donaldson. Yeah, I don't know. Now that I think about his deal, yeah, it kind of makes me think what you're saying because he totally could have went to other teams and on 3 or 4 years potentially. Especially if what did Donaldson did? He got like 4 years, like 90 million, something like that from the Twins, and Turner could have asked for that
Something
much.
like that.
Yeah, and they're relatively close in age, so yeah, Turner to the Dodgers. I
And Turner's
mean, I
played
think
better
more.
than Donaldson.
Yeah, and he's
I wish we could
has
have got Turner
experience.
a little earlier. He debuted at like age 25. He didn't really play good till he got to the Dodgers a couple years after that. So I
Right.
mean, we're talking like a guy who was almost 30 making his like prime, like just starting his prime, and that's usually when guys are in like the midst of it or starting to drop off. And
Same with
here he is,
Muncy too.
36.
Just a
Muncie,
lot
same
of
thing.
just Dodgers really great organization. Can't say enough great things about them. Even as a Padres fan, they just do it right, and they obviously can spend ridiculous amounts of money, but they honestly do it right. Also, people will call them crazy for the Bauer deal, but it's only 3 years. I still think the Yankees giving Garrett Cole, um, 8 years for a pitcher is just ridiculous, and 300 million. So
Pitchers are so volatile, and they just kind of
right, and
stuck their
Garrett
neck
Cole,
out there.
he's really good, but I mean DeGrom doesn't make that much. Like, come on, Yankees, but. I mean, hey, I guess that's what they had to pay because I mean, Angels would have gone that too. But
This
I
is
mean, it
kind
is
of
what it is.
crazy. Hold on. Uh, Between 2014 and 2020, Justin Turner had an OPS plus of 139.
Wow.
That's insane. And he's only
Yeah.
made one All Star team. He's got some seasons up over the 150s in OPS plus, and he's not an All Star in a lot of them.
I mean, it's hard to be a third baseman all-star.
That's true. I don't think his defense is very good.
I don't. Yeah.
He's about average. So
Right. But that's still. I mean, that's good. Average defense, stud offense. That's great. And yeah, you're not gonna win a lot of all-stars when you're competing against Anthony Rendon and what's his name, Nolan Arenado, and later Manny Machado for a couple of those years. I mean, it's just gonna be really hard. So, I mean, yeah,
yeah, and who knows where third base all stars are going in the future. That's like one of the hottest positions right now. Like Alec Boehm came up, and Vladdy Jr. and guys like that are
right.
like just breaking into the league, and they look just as good in the offensive department as Chapman and those guys look in the defensive department.
And a
So
lot of these guys are just like so like athletic and like good. They can just play anywhere in the infield, so they're just gonna get moved also. So, like honestly, I was thinking like Tatis could play third. Like his arm, I don't know,
he
it'd be kind
could,
of
yeah.
hard, but his
He's
arm.
better suited for short.
Right, just as like it's a. I mean, his arm like it's strong, but it's not as accurate, I guess. So honestly, I thought he'd. Oh yeah, I don't know. What
I'd
do you?
rather him like jumping over to second base like to flip double plays and stuff rather than have him stuck at third.
Yeah, Machado at third is really cool also. But yeah, yeah.
About 30 minutes before we started recording, James Paxton signs with Seattle. 1 year, $8.5 million. Really was hoping he'd go to Toronto. Didn't happen. Toronto or the Angels should have made this happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Instead, he goes to
Angels.
Seattle. The Mariners' rotation right now is 4 out of 5 lefties. I mean, I don't think anything else is like that across the league, and that's I don't know if it means anything good, but it's certainly impressive that they just have that many quality lefties. They're not like bad names either. But Paxton to Seattle doesn't really move the needle for now, especially because it's only a 1 year deal. They're not going to do anything this year. I mean, Kyle Lewis is their star player, and he was just a breakout in 2020. They should have some top prospects up this year, but overall,
Right.
Seattle maybe not ready to make that step just yet. They also signed Ken Giles to a 2 year deal. We don't know the money amount on that for some reason. Like no news sites had it listed. He will not pitch in 2021 though. He has TJ. He's recovering from TJ. So we'll see Giles in 2022. Pretty interesting that Seattle would go out and like sign a guy to a 2 year deal that can't pitch for the first year of the deal.
That is interesting, but
Must really like him.
yeah. And then they also have Andres Munoz coming back from I don't know when he comes back, but he was a Padres prospect, bullpen guy. He throws like 101, 102. So I
Yeah,
don't
he
know when he
throws
comes
really hard.
back. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Angels, like what are you guys doing? You could have given him 10 million for a year. Like, come on. Like he would have been your best pitcher probably if he was healthy, which is a big if, but a 1 year $10 million, like it wouldn't have killed you guys. Like you definitely could outbid the Mariners. And I just good for the Mariners, they're actually trying, they're somewhat competitive. They got him back after. I mean, I guess they did. I don't want to say they fleeced the Yankees for Justice Sheffield, but because he hasn't became the guy he was supposed to be yet. But I mean, they still got him, and really didn't, give him much up for, you know, and then, yeah, they just got him back for free, I guess.
They just got it back, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
interested at the amount because do you remember the Gary Richards signing a couple weeks ago? Really volatile guy who hasn't had like full seasons in a while. He got like $10 million from the Red Sox, and
right,
Paxton, who's been more consistent and pitched better just overall, got $1.5 million less than that. I mean, I think he just accepted like the highest offer, and if the Angels and Mets and Blue Jays couldn't offer more than 8.5 million, seems like a bit of a miss.
yeah,
Maybe they
it's
have their eyes focused on like Odorizzi instead, or Walker maybe. But I mean, I think Paxton was right up there with any of those guys. Maybe Odorizzi gets the edge a little bit. I think he's a little younger, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a guy like Paxton for that cheap.
Walker too has like a lot of potential, but like,
He's getting older. He's just consistent, I guess.
yeah,
He
but
gives you innings. But that's what these teams need is guys to throw quality innings, and Paxton was one of those guys.
yeah, Angels, I'm like, I don't know.
Uh,
We won't talk about them too much, I
so out
guess.
on the Angels.
Yeah.
They're idiots. I'm looking at the Mariners lineup, and it's like the least. It's like the most underwhelming lineup I've seen in a while.
The
Like I thought
Mariners.
it was a little better than this. The Mariners, yeah. J.P. Crawford, Dylan Moore, Kyle Lewis, Kyle Seager, Mitch Haniger, Jose Marmolejos, Ty France, Evan White, Luis
No,
Torrens.
yeah, there's a couple minor leaguers thrown in there, for sure.
There's one guy in the lineup with a projected average over 250.
Hi, France.
Your
I'm
boy Ty
surprised.
France, Padre. They're all over the place. These Padres.
Yeah, no, Torrens also. Yeah,
Is he a
that's
Padre? Oh yeah, right
former,
there.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're making splashes. Who did we get from the Mariners? We got like, oh yeah, we got Austin Nola and then Dan Altavala, who's like a reliever. But yeah, we'll see how Nola does. Yeah, not too great. Yeah, Mariners still super underwhelming. When all their outfield prospects are fully developed, they'll be a much better team. And then, I mean, yeah, I
We
guess this
can't
was
be
just,
hypocrites though, because with the Royals trade, we said we're happy that these teams are making moves like this.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like, I'm not mad at the Mariners for this deal.
no,
They're just not good
I said
enough
that
yet.
too. Like I said, good for the Mariners. They're like being competitive. Like unlike when I was like hating on the Angels, but no, yeah, definitely. But just they're still underwhelming. Like they're not.
Yeah, I just wish someone else got
Yeah.
Paxton.
Yeah, yeah,
A
that's
lot of
really what it
teams that
comes down
still need
to.
that little push in the
Mets
starters.
even. Just so many. That's what I hate. It's just like for us, it just makes so much sense. But obviously, these teams they're in different
We have no
positions.
idea what their
Yeah, but it's
plans
just
are and
like,
stuff like that.
but the Mets like it's just like, come on, guys, you should have just given Turner like 3 years, like 60 million. You should have just given Springer like more money than the Jays. Like it's just we want to just build these super
I just thought of a
teams.
good team that Paxton could have went to that would have been actually really interesting. Cincinnati Reds. Right
Yeah,
there with Sonny Gray and Luis Castillo. I think they have another like third kind of guy, but if they added like a guy like Paxton, that's all of a sudden a
yeah.
good rotation again. Their lineup hasn't really taken that big of a hit. They still have Castellanos, they still have Mustakis. Senzel is still developing. Guys like that. Vado's still there.
They still
So I
have
mean,
Winker or whatever his name,
Winker's all of a
Jesse
sudden a
Winker.
star.
Yep.
All of a sudden. We don't talk about Paxton anymore. It's
Yeah.
done. It happened. Kind of sad. Adam Duvall to the Marlins, 1 year, 4.5 million. He kind of popped off in 2020. Before that, he was kind of just a bench pinch hitter here and there. Performed good. He doesn't get a lot of playing time. He's getting kind of old. But does this do anything for you? Marlins aren't going to be that good. I don't really.
Talking about their division, we should talk about this too. The Pacoda win predictions.
Oh my god, dude,
They
so
had
bad.
the Braves being fourth in the division, which means
And
and
the
they the
Cardinals were third.
and they had the Phillies ahead of them. So Yeah, I don't know. Apparently that's supposed to be the most accurate thing, but yeah, there's I don't know, all that stuff, especially when the baseball, it really irritates me. Like the MLB top 100 list, it's just so bad. It's so bad. And like when you see players back to back, like it'll be like two guys on the same team or two guys at the same position, and it's like, oh, they know, they just thought they're like, okay, if we just throw this guy in, like this guy's only a little bit better, like they're thinking about that. Or you'll see two relievers back to back, and it's just like so painful. Like I think today they had like Liam Hendricks and then Devin Williams. Like it was like 56 and 57. I was like, where do you like why? Like how does this
Williams
like
has thrown like 25
yeah,
innings.
and it's just like I don't even know. It's just yeah, that stuff is so bad. But yeah,
I saw that they had a Stanton
Marlins,
at
yeah.
like 97, and they
hmm
had like Kevin Biggio at like 75 or
They
something like
had
that.
they had a Dinelson Lamet and like Blake Snell like in the 80s. I was like, dude, these guys were like both top 10 pitchers last year. Like I don't know what maybe I'm wrong about Blake Snell, but I feel like I'm no, he literally commented. He commented facepalm. Like he was like I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? Like, but yeah, I mean, it is
Tough
what it
look.
is.
They have Tatis. Well, Fangraph says Tatis is like the seventh best player in baseball. What's that about? I'm just
They have their list. Yeah, I
they
haven't
have like
seen that.
they have an overall power ranking on the side. So I don't know. I just now found this, but
A
Will Myers at 16. Okay, I don't think this is like a best list. Anyway,
yeah, that has to be
uh
just based off last year.
yeah. Had another signing today, Jay Bruce to the Yankees on a minor league deal. They get a lefty power bat. He's aging, but we were talking about it a little bit when we had technical difficulties. Jay Bruce has kind of put together a nice career. He's got like 300 homers. Uh, what did we say? Almost 1,000 RBIs. I mean, for a guy who's been doing it for 12 years, he's certainly put together a really respectable career. It'd be interesting to see how the Yankees use him. Probably just a bench pinch hitting bat for what will likely be his final season. He might get another little minor league deal next year, depending on how he does. But got anything on this? I know we've been talking about the Yankees trying to get lefties. This is an effort.
Yes, that is what I was gonna say. I'm glad you brought that up. Good for you, Yankees fans. I hope this is my hope. I hope he becomes their everyday DH. This is probably not gonna happen, but I hope for you, Yankees fans. I hope he comes in. I hope he can hit third or fourth and be your everyday DH. So you have some form of hope of just someone to stand in the left side of the box. Whatever hits is not, facing, because he's a switch hitter, but it's just so painful every time I watch anything Yankees highlights. Their lineup, like anything, it's just overwhelmingly right-handed. And good for you, Jay Bruce. Good for you, Yankees. You got him on a minor league deal. You have the option of the DH. The NL teams don't, and that kind of hurt Jay Bruce, I feel like. But I'm gonna check their fan graphs. I don't know where he'd
I'm looking at it right now, so it's kind of hard to see him getting a more advanced role than just being a
right.
bench bat. Left field, they got Clint Frazier, who I don't think can play center field. He's a really bad defender.
No,
Center field Hicks, right field Judge, DH Stanton, and Bruce can also play first base, but Luke Voigt's got that. So maybe on a day
right.
with a righty that like they like the matchup, maybe they could squeeze
But
in Jay
then it's
Bruce.
also the Yankees, and Judge could get hurt, Hicks could get hurt, Stanton could get hurt, and then they have to move Frazier.
That's
Um,
always possible.
that
Yeah,
is,
he'd be a good
yeah,
DH option.
yeah, he'd be a really good DH option, and I think, I mean, yeah, it's like,
Wait, I got it. I got it. All right. So over the years, obviously, Yankees get injured all the fucking time, every single year. Judge, Stanton are the two big ones that they lose seemingly every year.
Hicks recently also, I
Hicks
feel like,
recently, he's not as impactful of a piece, but you
right,
throw Jay Bruce in there on a day where the matchup is good, maybe once a week just for Judge or Stanton. Maybe Bruce gets like two starts a week. That kind of saves a little bit of stamina and durability on Judge and Stanton. And
right,
I think that's probably the best use he could find himself in this year. He's
right.
not going to be a starter. He's not going to be a DH probably even, but I think this fill-in role to kind of keep guys healthy and get their bodies back into baseball shape is probably his best bet.
Right, and you could just keep cycling guys and give Bruce more playing time. You could cycle, Judge, Stanton, Voit. have one guy, sit on the bench, have one guy, move to DH, maybe Bruce can fill in for his position or be DH for that day, and just keep cycling guys like that to get him in too. So yeah, like you said, it's just great. I actually, this is like one of the moves that the Yankees made this year that I actually liked. Kinda, I mean, I didn't really like the Tyone deal. I didn't like Kluber. I don't think that's gonna be enough come postseason if they make it to the postseason. Not
This is
that
the
the
first
Yankees
conscious
won't, but
effort to
injuries.
like boost the lineup in a meaningful way. That's not just
Right.
like another right-handed infielder or something like that. This is a left-handed power only bat.
It makes sense. It makes
It's a
sense.
sensible move
Yeah,
if he even
like
cracks
this
the
is
roster. But
yeah, this yeah, you're right. He totally did not because he is super old or not super old, but like he's getting up there, and his best years are definitely behind them. But
I think that little
yeah,
bit of like potential power he has is worth more than Tyler Wade. IMO.
right. And yeah, just a veteran presence. Yes, super solid lefty. We'll see what they get from him, I guess. But I mean, they did something like this with Cameron Maben also, and Kendrys Morales too a couple years ago when they had a bunch of injuries. They had some older veteran guys fill in. Oh, I mean Maben he was like 30 something, but yeah, not
Maven just has been everywhere. We can
yeah
move off the Yankees. Almora, Albert Almora from the Cubs signed a 1-year deal to the Mets, 1.25 million. He'll be their backup center fielder. Doesn't really do anything. He's been
yeah
kind of underwhelming. He was kind of a prospect coming up. He had a good year during the World Series run, but other than that, he's been pretty lackluster. Good defender, I guess. But got anything on that?
no Mets you need to sign someone else.
Do
Yeah,
better.
yeah, do better Mets.
Yadi Molina signs with the Cardinals, re-signs with the Cardinals. He has a guaranteed $9 million, which
Wow,
I mean the Cardinals have the Central pretty locked up. I'd
Cardinals
say
have money. Well,
they
I mean,
do have
hey, I don't
money.
know. I mean, Pagoda predicted the Brewers and Cubs being better.
I don't buy it.
I wouldn't say locked up. I wouldn't say locked up. That's
I'd say it's their division to lose, is what I'll say.
yeah. It's not like it's not like the Yankees in the AL East. Like I'd say they like yeah, I don't know.
We
It's
were
all
looking at it last
debatable.
week. Like the Cardinals catching situation is not very good. Like their backup
No.
was, we didn't even know who it was. So good job, I guess, getting a good catcher. Please
Yeah, and they
develop some
had
more.
and Cardinals are a good organization overall, so they're gonna. I mean, I guess not when it came to Albert Pujols, but they just didn't want to pay him what he wanted.
I mean, the Angels
But
offered him like an astronomical deal. So I mean, I
yeah,
think the Cardinals offered him like part of the ownership of the team too, and Angels just somehow topped that. I think it's that
yeah.
after retirement incentives that probably pushed him over for the Angels. Uh, got anything else on that?
Um, yeah, nothing.
You kind of pay $9 million for a partial coach too, which is pretty nice. I mean, Yadi's been around for like 15 years, so he can talk to the Latin guys.
Right,
I
and
like it.
he's solid. Yeah, I mean, still might give you some solid defense behind the plate.
Yeah, for sure.
So
The hitting's not going to be there, but
right.
what do you expect? He's like 39. Jonathan VR signs with the Mets, 1 year, 3.5 million. Plus, he can get more if he hits certain incentives. But I like this as a bench piece. I like this more than the Almora signing. VR's been he used to be a pretty high flying base stealer, kind of fallen off last year with the Marlins, but uh, good. I think he's a switch hitter.
Yeah, he is. I know. I like
Gonna be a
that.
nice bench bat.
Yeah, he's a good like. I think he can play like second base and center field.
Yeah, he's like
So
a little utility, not a traditional utility guy, but
so yeah, I
yeah,
actually I did like that deal for the Mets. I forgot about that, but Mets you still need to do a little better. But that is a
he gives you
good.
big league at bats.
Yeah, no, I like that as a bench role, and yeah, definitely good for the Mets, I guess. But yeah,
Maybe a little bit of a
I don't know, maybe they'll
not an
trade for
overpay,
Bryant.
not an overpay, but like I don't know. The amount of like little deals they're doing, I feel like could go to another starting pitcher. We're not the GMs.
Yeah,
Jake Marisnick signs to the Cubs, 1 year, 1 mil. That doesn't do anything for me. He's literally
nope.
just Albert Almora. They just
But
re-signed Marisnick instead.
yeah, Just
Um,
he's not even good. I don't even like him. Elmore's better.
I actually got Merznick's autograph when he was in Lansing, when he was a Blue Jays prospect in like
Eh,
2011 or something. It's in here somewhere. I don't know which one it is. Uh, Nomar Mazara signs to Detroit, 1 year, $1.75 million. Used to be a big power hitter with the Rangers. Has kind of fallen off since due to his strikeout numbers. He's like a mini Joey Gallo in that sense. If you had to guess how old Mazara was, how old would you say?
32.
25.
25. Okay, I don't even know. He just sounded like
I
a
feel like he's been around for like
yeah.
10 years and he's
Yeah,
only
that's
25.
funny. 25. I don't know. I just feel like everyone who's associated with the Rangers, they're just like old, been around for a while, like below average at this point. Like, I don't know.
That's about right. Todd Frazier gives
Yeah,
me that vibe. He was there
like
for a little bit.
Rougned Odor, like I don't know, he gives me that vibe. Like just a bunch of those. I just Dallas solid.
Andrews.
Andrews, yeah. But yeah, enough about the Rangers. They're
Power bet for the Tigers to kind of shore up the outfield a little bit, and they've completely revamped it. So now in left field they have Grossman, center field Jones, who is the best of the Tigers outfielders from last year, and now in right field they have Azara. I like it. Good job,
yeah,
Tigers.
and they have a top prospect, Torkelson coming up. Well, not top, number two or something. I don't even know.
He's their
In
top.
Casey, in
He's
Casey
number 3
Mize.
overall.
So
Tigers, this is a big year for them. They need to be able to play good enough, and the young guys need to show enough to attract free agents for the next little run they're going to try to make here. It'll be interesting to see if they take fifth, which is likely again. They just need to show that they can win like 70 games.
yeah,
Mize needs to take a step. Scooball needs to kind of show it a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to fit Isaac Paredes in there.
didn't they
Uh,
have some reliever who did some like crazy, like something crazy last year, like 3 innings, like struck out everyone, like
Yeah, Taylor Alexander, he struck out 11 batters in a row, tied
okay,
the
that's what
AL
it is.
record also held by a Tiger, Doug Fister. But
Pretty crazy.
interesting to see what the Tigers do this year. Torkelson is on the spring training roster, so I'm going to be watching a lot of spring games. The Orioles have like 3 of their top prospects coming up to play, so I'll be watching that a little bit. Got anything else on this? Probably not.
Yeah.
Marwin Gonzalez signed to Boston, 1 year, $3 million. Kind of helps depth in the infield. They're pretty set in the infield. Second base
Yeah.
Kike, shortstop Bogarts, third base Devers, first base Dahlbeck. So a bench shortstop, defensive minded, I think is what he is. He's on the Twins last year. Doesn't
He
do
could play
anything.
a lot of positions too. He could play in the
Utility,
outfield.
yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the what the Red Sox are doing. You know, obviously they've taken a whole different step as an organization since they traded Mookie Betts, but they like I kind of like these small, like TJ Hernandez, Marwin Gonzalez deals. So I just yeah, I mean earlier on I might have hated on them a little bit, but for trading Benintendi, but yeah, I mean this is a good, like small deal, I guess. Like they're not
They're kind of losing star power for the depth, which I can respect, I guess, but they're a big market team. This is what like the Royals should be doing.
yeah.
This is like a Royals move, but they're the Red Sox. Whatever. Jake Arrieta resigns. He doesn't resign, but he's back to
Back to
Chicago.
yeah. I mean
1
that's
year,
what
$7 million. I saw a good tweet. It was like uh, the Cubs replaced Jake Arrieta with Yu Darvish, and then they replaced Yu Darvish with Jake Arrieta.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Just a couple years apart. Jake
I mean,
Arrieta, he was on the Phillies last year.
yeah, not really. I think 7 million, that's a tremendous overpay. I don't know
Outside of his
how.
Cy Young year, he's been pretty underwhelming.
Right, and the Cy Young year is like his
That Cy Young year
time,
was insane, though.
just his time with the Phillies. Nothing's really impressed me, So
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, it adds depth to their rotation that was already kind of shallow.
hmm
I think their top 3 now or top 4 in the rotation are Kyle Hendricks. I'm missing one. There's Alec Mills. I had him at like 4th, but now Arrieta, whatever. There's another one in there. Rich Hill resigns to Minnesota, 1 year, $2.5 million. starting
But
pitcher. They needed that. It's a familiar face.
he's
Good
not
job
gonna be
against
that good
Twins.
though.
Yeah, no, he's a 4 or 5 at best.
Yeah.
That is all of our signings of impact for the week. It was kind of a lot. Spent like 30 minutes on that. Got anything else on any of those? Any final touches on the improvements?
No, some good small deals, I guess, and some like the passion one that I didn't really like, and I don't know, it didn't really make sense. I was like, okay, like the Mariners should have saved that 8 million, I feel like, but I guess they didn't want to, so good for them. I guess they didn't want to have the
Just be more
Dodgers
mad at
pay
the other
for.
teams.
They didn't want to have the Dodgers pay one player more than their whole salary. They wanted to get off that graphic, so they're like, all right, we're just gonna pay Paxton. But,
They'll stay out of that bottom four where like it's the Orioles, Pirates, Indians, and I think the
yeah.
Rockies where they're just not paying anybody. So kind of bigger news that kind of went under the radar. I think they dropped this on Super Bowl night. The baseballs are being deadened. So the increase in home runs in recent years has obviously led to things like increased shift usage and increased strikeouts and things like that. And pitchers using pine tar is kind of, or like sticky stuff is
It's
kind
just
of in
super
association
common.
with this. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes the way hitters approach. If they're going to take care of this, though, they need to take care of the sticky stuff situation. I feel like those go two hand in hand to where now pitchers have the clear advantage where now hitters' balls aren't carrying as far, plus they're throwing super hard, plus they have more control over it than they would otherwise. I think Jake Cave had a good tweet saying like, uh, here we are like 30 years later and pitchers are throwing like 15 miles an hour harder and the mound is still the same, except hitters have to just kind of stay in there and take it. And they haven't gotten any increased advantage besides the lively balls. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on with this. I hope we see more average. I don't like watching strikeouts. Did you watch the Reds and Braves game, first game of the postseason this year?
No.
It was like 14 innings of just absolute hell.
Actually, I think
I
I did. I think I saw. If it, yeah, I think I did. I saw some Reds game that was super long, and I like turned it off for a little bit, and I was like, "What? It's still going?" And yeah, no,
I started watching in like the 5th inning because I like got home from work or whatever, and I just turned it on because I knew it was like Bauer versus Freed, and like they both went into like the 8th inning. It was 0-0, and I think I watched between innings 7 and 14. There were like 3 hits. I wanted to die for about 2 hours, and like I don't want baseball games to
was
like just
it?
be
Were you
over all the
looking at the
time.
pitching though, and they're like, "Okay, this pitching is like, it's not that great. You know, it's good, but it's not that
It
great."
was
Because
just
there's
like really
times.
bad at bats. Like the at bats were
There's
just
times the pitching, like you can look at it on screen, you know, they're just like they'll be throwing it down the middle and the guys will still be striking out, or they'll be missing their off speed, throwing it or like throwing it high in the zone and guys are still striking out. Like I
like I
feel like
think
there's sometimes there's bad pitching and bad offense, but when it's just like ridiculously nasty pitching, like I don't know, I like that too because you can see that, but there is some of that. Like, there's definitely some of that where like you see like just bad pitching and guys are just their offense is just like or they're just trying to hit home runs. And another thing is a lot of singles you see they come off accidental swings and they just bloop it out into right field, but they'll be trying to pull it into left. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, we'll see how this changes the game for sure though. You definitely see that a lot, like a lot of accidental singles. I can just tell by how they're swinging. I don't know if you like feel that way also, but
yeah, there's a lot of guys just like so like think back like 8 years ago when like Miguel Cabrera and like Josh Hamilton were like the stars of the MLB. Pujols was right there with them. Those were like the only three guys that could like flick balls the opposite way for home runs. Now you see someone do it like every couple games, and it's not big names either. It's just standard hitters just flicking balls the
yeah,
opposite field like it's
Altuve,
nothing.
he was the first like little guy. He just like hit 30 home runs like his MVP year. And that they do it is hitters friendly in Houston with the that one part that sticks out. I can't think of the name, but the Crawford boxes. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is definitely crazy. Like little guys are just yeah. I mean, you can just look at yeah. I saw another stat about 30 home runs. How many guys hit 30 home runs? X amount of years ago, and how many guys are doing it now? and it's shot up. It's
It's
not even like
exponential,
a
yeah,
it's not even a big deal now. The 40 is the new 30. You know, you got to be hitting 40 to be doing it. But yeah,
to be impressive, yeah.
we'll see. I mean, this I was like worried. I was like, oh no, like Tatis and Machado aren't gonna hit as many home runs. But I'm like, this is gonna affect every team. So, I mean, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
I just read a little like tweet about this, but I think I saw something saying like before games, there's like kind of like a ball police coming to like inspect baseballs.
Really,
And he like watches the baseballs to like see what's just make sure that they're not like mishandled or anything. Maybe it's I think that's also in hand with the sticky stuff situation. They're just watching to see if there's any like manipulation and things like
but
that before a game.
Pine tar is super common. I don't know how they're gonna. And like hitters are allowed to use it, right? So it's not like it's gonna not be available, right? Like, so
It's always in the
right,
stadium because yeah,
exactly.
hitters will use it on the handle, but
But and the
it'll
thing
be
is,
interesting to
pitchers
see the
like
data they get.
you see Derek Cole like blatantly use it, and I'm not even like just trying to throw him under the bus. Like
Every
there's a bunch of
pitch.
like there's a bunch of guys you'll see like yeah wherever they grab their pine tar from, it's super common. Like
I
so, I
just
mean
picked
it's
up on it
not
in the most recent postseason, but it was a big moment in the World Series. It was Victor Gonzalez on the mound and really clutch situation. But every single pitch, he would like very obviously rub that hat every
no
single time,
I
and
love it.
it
I
was super
love
dirty under there.
that's
It's
just
like
that's a little thing about baseball that I love though. Is like not the everyday fan, but like it's just a little thing about baseball like that makes it so much more interesting. I feel like that I really like, but
it was
yeah I don't
kind of
know.
cool when like managers would like point at it and be like, "Yo, what the hell's he doing? What's he got that
Yeah.
pine tar under his
But
hat? Let's
now
go
no one
check
does
that."
it because their guys are doing it also. So it's kind of like,
Yeah, there's some good videos from like the 80s and 90s of like them just, like oh, I forget who it was, but he had like a little paper clip or something in his hands and he was like scratching the ball with it to get more grip on it. And when the umpires were investigating the ball, he like you could watch him throw the paper clip out of the shot behind their backs.
I didn't see
Pretty good
that.
clip.
I
I
didn't
forget
even.
who did it, but it's like in the 80s.
Yeah. He was scratching paper clip or scratching the ball with the paper clip to grip it better.
Just to rough up the seam a little bit, pull out the seams. Um, Oh, one more thing. The minor leagues reshifted a little bit. I didn't really see too many changes. We don't have to spend much time on this, but it looks like some teams are kind of bringing their farm systems closer to their MLB team, which I like to see a lot. Like the Indians, for example, have theirs is kind of the same. I think they added a single A team, but like three out of their four affiliates are in Ohio and like within 2 hours of the stadium at the major league stadium. So I mean, I like that. It's not very significant. I just like the minor leagues a lot. So any sort of news, I really miss minor league baseball. I want to go to some games.
Yeah.
It's unforeseen if we'll be able to attend this year, but I really want to hit like the Lake Erie route. I can hit like the Erie Seawolves, the Erie Lake County. It's the Indian Single A. I forget what they're called. They're like the Lake County Captains or something. Akron Rubber Ducks, all those teams.
That'd be
Toledo
pretty cool.
Mudhens. There's a lot of teams in the Midwest. I don't know if you have anything on minor league baseball, but
No, yeah, I don't follow the minor leagues as much, but or at
love
all. But
it.
so what's the deal with the MLB releases social media teams? I think you wrote that down. What does that mean?
Yes, so I think it was last night. Due to budget cuts, a lot of these, like the guys who run Twitter and stuff like that, who interact with the fans all the time, and I haven't personally like interacted with like the Tigers account or anything like that, but there's some guys that have like personal relationships with like the Tigers account. And they know their favorite players and they're able to like joke with them and stuff. And those guys have been cut from pretty much every major league team due to budget cuts, and it's really sad actually because now we're just going to get boring scheduled tweets and it's not very fun when they're not interacting, especially when we had that interaction before.
Right.
There's some pretty
Yeah.
good MLB Twitter accounts out there and those just got wiped away
Yeah, I
into
think was it the our friend Brandon? He got like his jersey tweeted, it was like a picture of his jersey for something for the Tigers. They were like, "Oh yeah, tweet us your like your number and your last name and we'll put it on a picture of a jersey and you could make your phone background or something like that." It was just a picture, but they would still do it anyways. And if stuff like that's going away, it's kind of definitely a step in the wrong direction. I mean, baseball gets hated on this for all the time. They're just not appealing to the young fan base as well as they could be, with how they handle their social media situations and all these restrictions and, cutting their social media budget, which they really didn't have to do, obviously. I mean, they have billions and billions of dollars. They just felt like it wasn't worth it. But I mean, I think they're wrong. I think in the end it is worth it. If you build
I
a
agree.
bigger
Yeah,
fan base, especially through social media, there's no better way to do it. You don't even have to be watching the games to, have a TV to follow the game. I mean, yeah, just look at what the NBA and even the NFL, they're just killing it on social media. They're ramping up funding every year for it, I'm sure, trying to promote it as much as possible. And the MLB just is literally doing the opposite.
they
So
were just starting to get there. Like the Rays Twitter is pretty good. They're always in on different replies and stuff like that. They got a reply from Wendy's yesterday. They got roasted, but
yeah,
they
I
got a
saw
reply.
that. I saw that. And
But
Blake Snell liked it. That was funny.
but like
It
they
was
were just
funny.
starting to get there where they're like interacting really common. It was really common to have relationships with those guys, and they just got wiped like immediately. Some of the guys posted like really heartfelt letters and stuff saying like they'll miss their time in Cleveland. They're sad this is happening, but they get it. And it sucks because MLB teams are going out there like spending, I don't know, $10 million here, 5 million here, 20 million there, and they're like, "Oh, your $50,000 salary. Sorry, we don't have space for that. Good luck out there and fuck off now." And
Yeah.
that's a pretty poor way to handle what feels like a pretty important part of the fan interaction. Say you're like a kid on Twitter who finally decided to reply to like a Tigers tweet and say they even like it. They don't even reply to it. That's
Right.
interesting. That garners like interest and enthusiasm, and it's exciting. And if these guys are just scheduling tweets to come out and not replying to anything, they're just posting the schedule and performance updates. I don't really care. I follow baseball close enough to where I can find my own box scores, and a lot of other people feel the same. If you're not a Diamondbacks fan, you're not going to know about the Diamondbacks, but the
Right.
Twitter kind of brings you there. They just aren't there anymore.
Yeah, just step in the wrong direction. But
For sure.
I mean, it seems to be what they want to do when it comes to social media. And I mean, they'll see it eventually. I'm sure someday they'll just have a complete turnaround and they'll just be promoting that like the hell out of the MLB social media. But
I hope it's a 1 year break and all those people get their jobs back in like just 1 year's time after we get fans back in the stadiums. But until then, this is a pretty sad state of baseball social media. I hope the MLB Instagram guy got to keep his job because that guy kills it. Shout out.
yeah, I'm sure he did.
Seems pretty significant.
Yeah, just individual teams as a whole. But yeah, did
Yeah.
we talk about the no universal DH yet? Or
No, we haven't.
so yeah, I think we're pretty sure at this point, yeah, there's gonna be no universal DH. So I mean, pretty big deal. A lot of guys affected by it, and it seemed to be both sides wanted it, but the players couldn't offer it just because of how like how the negotiation works. They can't go back and forth. Like I don't even know. It's really weird, but and
The
messed up. They
owners
really don't like each
and
other, from
Yeah,
what
no,
I
the
heard.
owners and commissioner's office are going to hold it as leverage in next year's CBA, and that's really sad because like everybody except for pitchers wants the universal DH. Fans want it, hitters want it, NL teams want it.
Not
So I mean,
everyone. Like I did see a lot of people on social media, and then there's a lot of other guys. But yeah, for the most part, yeah,
support is definitely
yeah.
on the rise, and the fact that they just
And
gave it to us last year and then they said, "Nah, we're going to hold it just because we don't
there
want to give up
is a lot of
debate
people.
room."
I do like this. The World Series does change a lot when you have, teams like I don't know the Red Sox and Dodgers when they played. Like, what do you do with JD Martinez? It did, bring on a whole scenario, but it is kind of unique. And then, I mean, it is true though. But and then also the strategy of taking out a pitcher. He might have to hit that the next inning or something like that. But for the most part, and then the one argument I don't like is like, oh, when pitchers do get hits, it's just so exciting. Like that rarely ever happens, and when it
One
does
in 10.
happen, yeah. And then what are the chances that hit is actually meaningful or that walk? Like that does happen, and when it does happen, it's cool. But like they showed the stats of the DH. in the National League last year versus pitching in 2019. And obviously the offense was much better. The OPS was respectable. The average was decent. Like it's just pitching. It's just a hole, and it just sucks when you see like the number 8 guy in the National League, like, oh, he might just hit a single, or what'll happen is like it'll be the number 7 guy. He'll hit a double, and then they'll just say, oh, we're just gonna walk the 8 guy, and then we'll face the pitcher 9 guy and get out of the inning and like free out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like what are you guys doing? Like, come on, that should have been that takes no strategy. I'm sorry, and like same with I don't know. The pitching, I guess the pitching stuff does take a lot more strategy because you have to manage your bench and stuff. And but they kind of did already change pitching with the 3 batter minimum. I mean, that's not going away, right?
no,
And
that was a changed rule before
right. And I
COVID
think
season.
yeah, and I kind of like that too because this whole strategy of oh we're just gonna throw in a lefty, oh we're just gonna throw in a righty now. That is a strategy, but it's kind of simple. Now it's actually you have to
It
think about
sucked
the
watching
whole
like
inning.
World Series like 10 years ago to be like, oh, and here comes I don't know, David Ortiz. So they're gonna throw up Andrew Miller, and
Yeah.
that. What fun is that? It's 3 pitches and we're out.
Yeah,
Killed
it's
a
just
huge rally. But my favorite argument to use against keeping pitchers hitting is these veteran guys like Ryan Braun, for example, who can take the weight off of their like knees and stuff playing the field and just get to do what they do best and go hit instead of having to be a defensive
oh,
liability in the
right. So
outfield.
many other guys too. So many
Yeah,
other
plenty of
guys,
guys like that.
plenty of other guys would benefit from having a DH because, and even look at teams like the Mets. We were talking about this earlier too. Now what do? They have Dominic Smith, who's a pretty solid first baseman defensively.
He'd be a starter on most
Better than
teams.
Alonso for sure. But right, but now you have to move him to left field and move Alonso to first base because Alonso can't play anything other than first base. But if you had a DH, you could easily move Smith in to first base, Alonso DH, and then put someone in left field who's actually a left fielder. And there's a lot of other teams too. Like you said, like guys who have gotten some more money, they would have had more opportunity, more jobs, but it's whatever.
Like
I
Jay
don't,
Bruce, for example, could have had
yeah,
15 more teams to sign
he
with,
wouldn't have
and
gotten a minor league deal, most
yeah, he
likely.
probably would have got signed.
He could have been the Pirates DH easily. So, I mean,
He could have
yeah.
been their starting first baseman.
Oh yeah, I just now they could be. But
Um, yeah, kind of sad that this is they're sacrificing the owners are sacrificing the excitement and joy of the game that everyone, not everyone, but a good majority of fans want, just so
right,
they can have a little bit of talking points next year for leverage.
right.
I would be surprised if we don't go on a strike next year.
Yeah, that's the way it seems headed. It seems like there's going to be a no season, but
It was
what an
ugly
awful
last year,
luck.
and it didn't need to be.
What an awful, yeah, I hate it. I just hate it. It's just like all the wrong optics for baseball. And you just like, especially as a huge NBA fan, and I hate how they do it, but they just do everything to a T like a business should. But
Yeah, and like I get it, those guys have things that they have to hit and certain things, whatever,
MLB
certain
owners,
money points.
they're just so weird too, because I heard this thing like also about like how they don't want some owners who spend stupid money in the sport anymore because then it forces everyone else to. And like they didn't let Mark Cuban buy a team because of that, because they knew he'd throw money
Yeah,
everywhere. And like I was like, if that's true, that's so dumb also. Like that is so dumb. They don't want to like force the hand of these other teams. And that kind of makes me, I guess, happy that the Dodgers are kind of going a little bit crazy.
they want to drive down
But
that average salary.
right, but it's like come on, like stop being so selfish. Like, but I mean, obviously, yeah, they want like it's money, and
At least they let
but
Steve Cohen own a team, and it's like so now every offseason, at least until he doesn't own a team, he's gonna have there. That's gonna be back pocket for every other team. They're gonna say like, well, Steve Cohen can certainly pay out a little bit more than you guys can. In fact, he could pay me a lot more than you guys can. So
right,
give me a better offer, and that's always a card that
right.
agents can throw out.
All right, so I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick, but why don't you explain the draft thing and then flip our
Okay,
coin? So yeah, I'll be back.
can you grab a coin while you're gone? Because I don't have
Uh,
one.
okay, yeah,
Okay. So we are doing. I didn't think we'd have time to do this today. I did think we'd have time to do this today. There wasn't a lot of things to talk about, but then the Paxton thing happened and the Turner happened. So I tasked Neil with drafting 3 players on any MLB bench listed on Fangraphs, and he would pick just the best three. We're gonna do a draft. It's gonna go back and forth, and I'm just interested to see how his selection process worked. If there's anything I like about baseball, it's obscure players that no one cares about. But I think these are some notable guys, and it should be fun.
All right, so you explained the draft and everything.
I did explain.
Okay, so I guess we'll talk about the players a little bit too before, like, after we picked them and why we picked them and why we liked them. But all right, I picked a random coin out, and I don't know what this is. This is like a framed. I don't know how well you guys can see this, so I don't know where this is from. But it's
We're going honors honor system.
it's from somewhere. I just wanted to show the coin, but yeah, it's a framed. Yeah. So
Oh, it's a dollar coin.
this is heads. This is tails. So I'm gonna flip it. I just you want to call it in the air?
Just like give me a countdown when you're gonna
Just-
toss it, and then just toss it kind of high.
3, 2. Well, I dropped it. I dropped it. No. All right. Well, this is worse than the Super Bowl. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Heads.
Oh, that was such a bad flip. Okay, I'm
That
putting
was-
it on my hand. I don't even know what did we say this. I don't even. This is heads. This is heads. I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Pretty
All
sure
right.
You won.
With the first pick, I select the one that I already gave away to you before the show. Jerks and Profar.
The Jerson profile. All right. You wanna
We'll
elaborate
do the
on that?
explanations after.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to do them after every.
You want to do them during?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. Utility guy, former top prospect, but he's had improvements on offense in his recent seasons. I love a utility guy, but he also gets to be on the Padres bench, which is a very fun place to be. So that is my Jerks and Profar pick.
Okay. There's another
Expert
guy.
analysis.
There is another guy I want to take over the guy I'm about to choose, but I'm gonna bank that you don't know this guy and you're gonna let him slide. But you do know the guy I'm about to
Yeah.
pick because I mentioned him earlier. So I'm gonna bank on that, and I'm gonna go to the Padres bench, and I'm gonna take Ha-Seong Kim. We haven't seen he hasn't
Okay.
played in the MLB at all. No MLB experience, but he has a
Wild
lot of
card.
potential, and he's also a utility guy. He can play second base, shortstop, third. Can probably play in the outfield a little bit too, and he's got a lot of pop in his bat. So, yeah, he's not the best player I think we have available at this point, but I don't think Josh is going to take this other guy next. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm right. We'll see.
We've got a pretty star-studded draft projection coming up here, so be ready. I will take the rest of the Padres bench. Victor Caratini. No.
No, I was just saying.
With my
That's
second
funny.
pick, I am taking Mike Brasso. Hit the mammoth home run on Aroldis Chapman in the ALDS off of lefties in 2020. He had a 1.121 OPS, which is
Wow.
that's better than Mike Trout levels against every other pitcher. Another utility guy, infielder, outfielder. I like Mike Brasso.
All right. So I was actually kind of shocked when I saw this, but the Twins have moved Jorge Polanco to the bench, so that's gonna
Oh.
be my pick because they have Simmons now, and then
Arise.
yeah, Arise at second base and Nelson Cruz DH. So yeah, Jorge Polanco, projected 275 average, 334 OBP, 436 slugging. And also infielder, switch hitter as well. Got his baseball reference stats. 2019 he was an all-star, 841 OPS. 2020 did regress, 658, but I mean his years before that he had a 288 average, 295, and I mean pretty solid stats. So I mean I think as a bench guy, I mean he could start on some other teams he could start on like the Mariners or obviously the Pirates, but yeah, some of these other guys, I mean, yeah, I mean I don't know. I'm going with the Jorge Polanco. I really like him a lot, I
I
guess.
think it was 2 weeks ago, but we were talking about the Twins infield, and you said Jorge Polanco, and my mind just went. I did not fucking know who Jorge Polanco was.
Yeah,
I think it's just because his
yeah.
name is Jorge Polanco. Like, there's been so many guys with the name Jorge.
I
and
always
Polanco.
saw him like a lot on the Twins I mean, yeah, I don't know how you didn't see him because the Twins they made the playoffs like the last couple of years,
Like
and
I knew that they
he's been
had
a
like
big part of that.
a good infield guy that like wasn't
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah, he's a
stuck at a
switch
position. I
hitter.
just
Yeah,
forgot he existed.
so I liked that. But so yeah, I
Good
guess your
second pick.
final pick.
My final pick is a he's featured in a Foolish Baseball Bits, Tim LeCastro. He pulls his weight on offense. He had a 130 OPS plus in 2020. Small sample. I don't care. He's a plus plus base stealer. Uh, that video is about him finding a way to steal first base because gets hit by pitches a lot. Good on defense. Super speedy center fielder. I like Tim LeCastro.
Okay, I'm kind of torn. I guess I'll tell you who I'm torn between, and then I know who I'm gonna pick most likely. But so I'm torn between Randall Grichuk,
He was
um,
in my reserves list.
Mitch Garver, another Twin.
He was also in my reserves list.
The guy I'm gonna go with, though, Hanser Alberto on the Royals. I really liked him on the
Okay.
Orioles last year. I thought he was super underrated. Great contact guy, and
So I thought that too until I learned that he swings at literally everything.
yeah, but he still makes contact, so he's still,
He
he's,
does.
yeah, he's not but
He
yeah,
mashes lefties.
so so yeah, I don't know. I liked him a lot for some reason. I don't know if it was just because he was somewhat of some light of hope in Baltimore last year, and
He was.
I don't know. He's on the Royals now. Pretty good lineup, so he might not play every day. Looks like he's projected not to, but 286 Fangraphs average. So I'm kind of just going based off that, I guess. I mean, I just know I'm going off last year too. He did have solid stats last year, and again, we're talking about bench guys. We're not talking about you know
Yeah.
top five. So
He's also a
yeah,
pretty good guy. He donates a lot to the communities that he plays
great,
in,
great. I
and
didn't know that, but
he was nominated for a Clemente Award last year. I think he was like the Orioles submission. So a good final pick. I like
yeah.
Hanser.
And my thing is though, I think I've taken like three shortstops, so it is what it is.
Most
But
bench people are like middle infielders. It
right, I'll
seems
stick
right,
one at
or
second, one at
catchers.
short, and one at third. So yeah, or catchers. Yeah, you're right. I thought about taking Mitch Garver, but he's not yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Garver, um, Grichuk were my two reserves in case he stole one of my other guys.
Yeah, I don't know, I liked Alberto, but
I
yeah.
like Grichuk for no other reason than that he mashed for me on MLB The Show.
Yeah, I don't know. I just finished my playthrough with the Red Sox, and it was pretty fun. I did the 2020 with the Red Sox, and I traded for Hader. I actually traded for Dominic Smith also, and we won the World Series. So yeah, good for you playing on
The
pro.
Red Sox were so broken in MLB 19, the show. Yeah, MLB 19. They had like 99 overall Chris Sale. They had like a 90 overall Nate Eovaldi. JD was like, there was a
99.
season where JD had over 200 RBIs in a sim season. Like, what?
Yeah, he
Man's
said
is,
he had like bets getting on like every time, like just
yeah,
like.
Betts is hitting like 390. I mean,
Oh
that
my
game was
god.
broken with the Red Sox. And
Yeah,
on my franchises, I'd play in the AL East, so I'd face the Red Sox every single postseason. And guess who would get knocked out every single postseason?
nice. But yeah, I think that's everything.
We
I
covered a
really
lot
like the
today.
draft, yeah. But yeah, we'll see where the season takes us. Got a lot of other stuff to talk about. Um, is there anything else you want to say?
We should try to do one of those little drafts slash like back and forth every week. I did like it.
Yeah, we could do like even like a just build your lineup, like 1 through 9, or build a
Yeah,
rotation,
just a
something like that.
little brain trick or
Or we
something.
could just do like that in a separate video. I don't know, but yeah.
If it's a
I
slow
guess
news week, we'll get one going.
is there anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later.
Have a good one, guys.